I've been a blacksmith armorer for over 30 years. I've created weapons for over 200 feature films. This is Man-at-Arms.
You have been asking for this sword since the beginning. Finally, here it is, Kratos' sword from God of War. Kratos' sword is just ginormously huge, so scaled it down a little bit so it would be wieldable. Shortened the blade down to about 30-something inches by about 14 inches wide. In this case, I had to get a new alloy of steel. I'm using 4130 chromoly steel for the blade. It's not going to be quite as hard as I would normally get with 1075 or 5160, but I wanted to give the thickness of the blade. I needed to start with 1/4 inch thick plate. I've cut out the blades to profile it, forged out the tangs so that it would go through the handle. The handle, hilt, grip, and pommel were sculpted by Karen Cope, who's a renowned sculptor, predominantly does figurative sculpture, around the world. She took the artwork I had and built up a pattern using Chavant oil-based clay. Once that was done, we did a shell mold where we laid up RTV room temperature vulcanizing silicone rubber over the surface of it and then put a plaster jacket over the surface of that. We've laid up wax on the inside of it for a lost wax investment casting. Whatever is in wax will be burned out of the investment. We'll cast it in molten bronze at about 1800 degrees. I use a pink injection wax because, Kratos' favorite color is, neon pink. Historically, they would have used beeswax. They would have taken beehives, taken the wax out of the honeycomb, and used that to sculpt it up and did a clay mold out of it as a waste mold and pour molten bronze or pewter or silver or gold into it, and that's how it would have been done at Viking or Egyptian times. The blade is 1/4 inch thick. They've now been commercially heat treated to about 46 Rockwell in the C hardness. And now Bryan's going to plasma cut this interior section out of here, and then we'll lay sheets of metal over the top and I'll grind the edges. Prior to cutting out the inside, skeletonizing them, they weighed 13 pounds. So, give you an idea, the Atlantean sword that Arnold Schwarzenegger swung around for the first Conan movie weighed 8 pounds. After cutting out the inner section, it was down to 8 1/4 pounds, and I started grinding the bevels on the edge, the cutting edges, probably about 1.5 to 2 inches back, and I think it's down to about 7.5 pounds with most of it ground, so 7 pounds will have just disappeared in grinding dust. Right now he is laying out a pattern that will kind of distress and rivet onto the hollow sections of the blade. And then the blades will be completed. They'll be heat treated, sharpened, and ready to be attached to the bronze hilt, grip, and pommel. It's almost something that you could carry. Well, I could carry it, but most people couldn't. I had Bryan beat the crap out of the plates on my anvil that was built in the late 1800s, so there's a lot of scarring on the face of the anvil that I've intentionally not polished off, so when I hammer metal to give it that raw look, it definitely imparts that effect to it. Hilt, grip, and pommel were cast solid in bronze after we pulled that out in pieces from the lost wax investment casting for the bronze pour. They were way too heavy. It probably weighed 50 or 60 pounds. So we took those to the bandsaw, cut them in half, and then took them to the mill off camera and milled out the interior to make them hollow, and then TIG welded everything back together. Cleaned up all of those pieces, did the final sharpening of the blade. We'd also drilled into the pommel in 2 places, and I had silver soldered a chain link in there to attach the chain onto the end of the pommel. And then hit it with the chemical to put a patina coloration on the steel blade and on the bronze hilt.
Tony's put the finishing touches on Kratos, and it is beautiful. The only problem is it's not supposed to be beautiful. So we're going to use these highly corrosive. Yes, that's a picture of a hand being eaten alive, hopefully. Don't inhale. You'll see smirks, then you die.
It came out great. You don't need to be a 9-foot tall giant to swing it, but it helps. I'm coming for you, Poseidon. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button below to see more of my videos. Thanks for watching, and if there's something you'd like to see next, let me know in the comments and I'll build it for you.